no 5 minutes, no bullet. So yeah, that's the way it is. So I'm playing against Cafe Chai. Let me try an old favorite of mine, the Stonewall today. Knight h3. That's cheeky. I'll try to exploit it by playing c5. Normally you'd go c4, and if c6 you'd play knight h3. Feels like here I'm getting kind of easy play. Yeah, now the knight feels a bit weird on f4, since he'll have to or h3 he'll have to spend some time protecting d4. Having said that, obviously I'm nowhere near being better. That goes without saying when you play the Stonewall. With the Stonewall, you basically accept being a bit worse, but you try to outplay your opponent from there. So I have some options. Let me just go bishop d7 and see what he does. Once again, he would love to play knight d3 and then bishop to f4, trading off those bishops and gaining more control over the dark squares in the center. But there is the issue that he has to protect d4, so knight d3 is not possible. And knight b5 does attack the bishop and protect d4 at the same time, but maybe I should go b5. Yeah, sure. I think general rule of thumb in the Stonewall is always play actively. So now I'm obviously preventing bishop a3 because of b4, and after a4, b4, I think I should be reasonably happy with that inclusion. And now he has blundered the pawn on d4, which makes me very happy. Yeah, he does have that trick of knight to c4, but I feel like bishop c5 should be a good answer. I didn't want to go dc and then so knight e4 looks good. If e3, I don't have a retreat square for the knight, but I do have knight c3 followed by knight takes b3. The reason I cannot go back with to c6 is obviously that he would have. Did I just blunder? I may have just blundered. I cannot play queen b6. This guy is playing amazingly well for his rating. Or her. Should not be sexist on this show, that's for sure. Maybe I just busted. That would be a bit disappointing. Yeah, I didn't see bishop e3 at all. I only saw e3. Okay, so now I think the worst is over. So I had this little trick with bishop e8. Do I have time for a5? Let's see. Worst case scenario, I'll flag him. That's why I play without incrementing him. And there goes his queen. But I have to say, very well played by Cafe Chai. An excellent fight. So here we go. Eitzbelt. Sounds German. No. It's a Basque name. Okay, let me try e4. c5. Okay, b4. The accelerated wing gambit. He's playing quickly, which suggests to me he knows something about the line, which I don't, to any particular degree anyway. But I don't know, doesn't look too bad for me. If he's forced to go knight b8, then have a nice lead in development. I should only make sure that I don't reply to b3 check with bishop d2, because then he would have b2. But now it feels like I'm in business, sort of. a3. I have ideas of knight to b3. So knight c5. That tickles my spidey sense, as they... Is that what they say? I think that's what they say. This, I feel, should not be good. He's just too much time development-wise to be moving his pieces more than once. So I feel like now I should have a huge initiative. I've given up a clear exchange, but it's not so obvious how he's going to develop his pieces, seeing as e6 can be met in several ways. I have d6, but it's also very tempting just to go queen to b3. The point now is that I'm a complete and utter idiot. I thought bishop c5 would be met by queen b5, knight d7, and then knight e5, but his queen protects that square from a1, so that would have been embarrassing. And also this is not so clear. Okay, I may have a tactical possibility here though. My idea now is that he doesn't really have time for bishop f3 since yeah, this is what I was hoping was going to work. So what I was going to say was that after bishop b2 he doesn't have time for bishop f3 since rook a1 catches the queen, and in case of bishop c5, bishop f6, gf, knight e4 would be kind of nasty. Although again I'm blundering rook g8 here, so who knows what's going to happen, but I feel like I still have some kind of initiative. And now the only question is whether queen d7 followed by either de6 or knight e6 works. My intuition tells me that it should be winning. I don't have a choice. I have to play queen e7, queen d7 at least. But I don't know. It's hard to calculate. At the very least, I have queen d5, so I'm just going to do that. The double threat is knight d7 and queen takes h5, so this ensures that I'm winning, but there may have been something better. But anyway, in order to win the game, I have to speed up at some point. So I just decided that I didn't have time to yap and to try and find a first win. It felt like should probably have been winning on the previous move by playing queen d7 followed by knight e6, but I couldn't find it after bishop h5, so that's why I didn't go for that. I guess I should just take on b7, c5, knight e6, but once again I have to speed up. Yeah, rook c8, now I win by force, or I win the exchange. Now it should be quite easy. I have lots of easy primos. F5 hangs now. And he might as well resign at this point. I have way too much time. And there goes his rook as well. Okay, good game. Let me see. Spieljunge. And I am, but that's 5 minutes. I want to accept only 3-minute games today. So please, please only challenge me for 3-minute games without increments. Let me see. Okay. So I'm gonna try. Apparently, Mr. Spieljunge listened to me. So I'm playing somebody rated above 3,000. But it's no secret I want to pump up my rating here as well. So it's always good. No, I actually don't care so much about the rating. I think I've never tried this before in an actual game, so spoiler alert, it's not very good. Huh, 93, that's interesting. So should I take? Does CD followed by E6 somehow work? Okay, I'll take. So I guess after E6, takes, I can choose whether to play a Grunfeld or a Semitarge. I guess I'll play Grunfeld then. Let's see what line he goes for. Rook B1, wow. So what should I do? Don't want to play too theoretically, no? Yeah. Okay. A4 I'm happy to see. Principle, I think it's way more dangerous for black if he plays on the king side. So now I'm intending knight f6 next to ask him a question of how he's going to arrange his pieces. Although bishop f4 was perhaps a good answer. Now he can just play. So I guess I'll try bishop c6 instead. If a5, I intend to probably just take that pawn. So I should go knight f6 first. And then I'll grab and ask him to show me what he got. Okay, h6 I suppose. I'm not scared of taking, obviously. That would, yeah, give me the bishop pair. I don't know. G5 shouldn't be too bad. Rook C8. She does have some compensation, but I really feel that the outside pass pawn may be a good factor for me. Also have the option of knight e4 now. Yeah, I kind of like that. Takes. Ah, he does this immediately. Anyway, I think I go a4. It feels like with these two bishops and the a-pawn running, I should be doing pretty well. So he goes for the ending, but my bishops are really strong here. So I do have the feeling that, and I completely missed that move, which forces me to make this extremely awkward one. But I do have an a-pawn running, which is a good thing. These games are all so messy. No nice clean ones. Happy to get in a5. So he wants to simplify the game, I think. But rook a3. Now I get rook d2. And it's hard for him to activate his pieces. f5 preventing, and there goes the knight and the game. But anyway, I think even if he doesn't blunder the knight, he's a lot worse. But another interesting game. I have to say that these games are far from easy. Okay, let me see. Knight driver, I think I accepted. Yes, an American. It's still, well, it's actually in the middle of the day. So he or she is probably on holiday. Let me try c5. It's appropriate, obviously, for the knight driver to play knight f3 on the first move. That's a fact that simply cannot be overlooked. But one of the good things about playing knight f3, g3, and bishop g2 castles against everything is that you can play it quickly. So I'm not sure why he's spending so much time on his first few moves. And I always liked the Botvinnik system, or the Botvinnik setup in these systems. Maybe I can go b6 now and try to play d5 in one go. Usually you go for d6, h6, bishop b6, and so on. Now that he has gone for c4 preventing d5, I obviously have to change plans. One thing I do like, though, is that his knight is on f3, and that he will have to spend a move in order to prepare f4, which is one of the only two breaks there are in the position. The other one is b4 or b5 for me. But yeah, with pawn structure as locked as it is, being first to play f4, f5 is huge. Did I blunder after queen d7? Could he have gone bishop h6? Bishop h. I always just thought bishop h6 and his queen is hanging on d2, but rook is hanging on f8 as well, so I probably would have lost material there, which would have been unbelievably embarrassing if it had happened, because that's the kind of trick you're not supposed to fall for. But I don't know, apparently knight driver is not into knight forks, or he would have spotted that. Yeah, it's always a difficult choice whether to take with a pawn or something else on e5 or e4 in his case, but I feel in this case knight is going to be nicely placed, and it might seem as I'm that I'm blundering an exchange here, but this one I did actually see, since queen h3, followed by queen takes g3 in case he took the rook, just should give me excellent compensation. And now I have time to move the rook and to take on d3 later on, which will give me a couple of pretty healthy looking extra pawns, as well as a potentially dangerous passer on d3. Yeah, bishop d2, nice move. Pairing bishop d3, so I'll try to prevent that, which Mr. Knight Driver didn't see. Okay, once again, Knight Driver missed a knight fork, haha. Let me see, I have a challenge from a Grandmaster, which always massively excites me. Shirik 80 from Israel. Wow, don't know who that is. If anybody knows, please tell. Okay, so we have another symmetrical English kind of position, but he's gone c4 in one move, which I guess is a good thing. So I'm latching onto a trend now that people like Aronin are starting to play just d3 and queen d2 with white. I'll try and do the same as black. Okay, should I go e5? Let me try e6, just because it's kind of boring to have the same structure as in the last game. And I'm not so worried about bishop takes e4. Bishop takes d4 followed by knight e2. I will have to spend the tempo then on e5, but I feel like the positional concession he makes by giving up the bishop pair would be worth the price of a tempo. So here he does get to play b4, but I'm not so concerned about it. And the reason I took the knight on e2 rather than the one on f3 is in order not to make it so easy for him to play d4. So rook a8 is not exactly hiding my intentions of playing f5 on the next move, but I think as long as your plans are good, there's no need to hide them. So here I'm kind of curious whether I'm not just winning a pawn here. He can sack the exchange, but I'm not convinced about that possibility. And yeah, giving him another opportunity to sack the exchange, but if he goes, then obviously bc, and if bishop c5, I have bishop f3 winning a piece. So apparently Jan tried to tell me something on our private chat now, but I didn't get it, so if you can try again, Jan, maybe I'll get it this time. Yeah, so Jan just told me who I'm playing, Ali Geshan. who is certainly know the name. I didn't know that he still played chess, but shout out to him. I've certainly seen a number of his games. He used to be a pretty good player, but he's a pawn down now, and I think for that reason in quite a bit of trouble. I should have played queen h6 on the previous move. I'm kind of regretting that I didn't do that, because I have a nice little trick. Queen a6, queen c5, I would have had knight c3 followed by knight e2 followed by knight c3 with a fork. But then again, that would have allowed a counter trick of his with rook d6 attacking the queen. So summing up, it's a good thing I didn't do that. It's a good thing I didn't think of that possibility, because then I would have made a serious mistake. But now I'm just trying to consolidate. And I think any ideas he might have of an attack are quite illusory. And I do not particularly think that my knight is better than his bishop. The extra pawn is so valuable that. But now my knight is indeed good. Will be at least an e5. Now I4 is winning pawn ending. Okay, a nice quieter game there. Okay, let me see. Winter is coming. Have I played Winter is Coming before? From Poland? I've played lots of other people from Poland. Not sure about that. So I'm not gonna avoid it all the way. Let me try the old rat. Knight f3 is already a welcome sign, because then that discourages some of the most dangerous lines. So what he's chosen here, I think, is a fairly innocuous way of playing against this line. As I discussed on an earlier stream, if he does go for if I do just go back with knight f6 at some point, I do get the queen d6 Scandinavian, but I don't see any reason to remove the knight from h5 unless forced to. And here I think I just have a very quite easy game. Though I'm not saying I'm better by any stretch of the imagination, but it looks kind of pleasant to play. I'll try bishop e6. Kind of a tricky move. So what I was thinking was, if he goes knight to g5, I was going to play rook ft8, and then in case of queen b3, I would have had knight to d4, bishop d4, queen takes g5, and if bishop g7, then knight f4. I mean, looking back, I'm not sure it was great. I have to say I'm less enthusiastic about my position than I was. Now it feels like I'm a little bit worse. I don't like that. All the potential, yeah, stopping knight g5, just in case. I suppose I'm kind of happy to see knight d4, simplifying the game a bit. Do I even have a tactic? So if I could play bishop h3 here, that would be nice with the point gh, rook at d4, and rook d4, and then I could go queen g1, g5 check and take on c1, but it doesn't seem to work. I'll just have to play a bit passively instead. Oh, this move I'm happy to see. Now I'm gonna get pretty nice blockading knight on d6, possibly. Feels like I'm finally completely okay. Now I can set about trying to outplay him. Bishop g4 is a good idea. Trying to take away. That's a double attack, so I sort of had to go bishop queen b6 probably. You cannot take on e7. What I was going to say is that I probably had to go h5, and I don't think bishop h5 would have been perpetual check since I'm running away to yeah, so I'm just going to go knight c8. If I want to exchange rooks, I think I can do that later. Happy to play h4. Sort of, yeah, he's doing this all wrong now. But time is going to be an issue. p5. I'm getting quite a huge positional advantage, but once again, there are time limits, so I'll have to play faster and try to play well. Also, I'm not a lot better, just a little bit. Hopefully, you blundered the pawn there. So now, obviously winning, but just have to play fast. Yeah, you cannot think. That doesn't work. King e5. Yeah, no, I should be playing sailing. He's way late here. Okay. Good game. But unfortunately, as long as I have a winning position, I'm usually going to be in time as long as I speed up eventually. Zlatan is challenging me again. Oh wait, that seems about right for the last game, no? Rikiki, Maxime Lagarde, another very tricky French grandmaster. Okay, let me try and see if I can get the Stonewall again. Well, this way, I don't really get to play the Stonewall. Wow, h3, that is cheeky. Bishop b4 feels like the obvious answer here. Not trying to discourage g4 because of bishop b7, and playing bishop c3 before he gets time to play knight to e2. I had a very similar game, I think, against Halkias at Gaustal in 2002. So I was obviously a much weaker player than he was at that time, but I managed to make a draw. And I probably would have made more than a draw had I not had massive respect for him and accepted a draw in a much better position. But yeah, I was a bit of a chicken, unfortunately, back in my youth. In my case, the appetite certainly came with the meal, and I don't think that's an expression in English, but whatever. What I'm trying to say is that as I got better, I got more ambitious as well. And here H3 is clearly just a waste of time for him. Compared to normal lines. Although, knight e4 was really stupid. Because he could have played knight b3 and then it looks strange. But now that he does this instead, I feel like my play has been sort of justified at least. Although, I mean, the position is not as good for me as it could look at first glance. Since, as they say, even the best knight is worse than the worst bishop. And while that is not exactly true, it just proves the point that the bishop often has very big potential, even in positions where it looks dormant and dominated by a bishop. So a4, yeah, he's trying to get bishop a3, but I'm kind of happy to see a4 since it makes it more easy for me to get a pass pawn later on. So I think I'll set about trying to do that immediately. Rook e6. I think that's not very good. Rook e8 now. I was gonna go rook f6 first, but then I saw this little trick. And if rook e2, rook e6, and so on, I think I'm just doing very well. So, question is, do I want? Probably. I don't even have to play. Why did I? Okay. Don't have to protect that point. That was really dumb. But he's getting desperately short of time now. So I think I'll try to, yeah, possibly use the chance to activate the rook. But he didn't give me that chance, so. Does b4 make any sense? Should play rook a7 first. Grand rook a7. Now, feels like my pawn is just marching. Yeah, rook b7, you can go king c3 and avoid immediate disaster. But he's not gonna last eventually. Okay. Yeah, so this is apparently a new account. Magnus drops camera. Magnus is not gonna drop the camera this time. Magnus is gonna beat you. That's what I think is gonna happen. But really, yeah, I was gonna play the elephant gambit. Unfortunately, he didn't allow that. What can I do? I'm gonna play the king's gambit and tempo down. How's that for dropped camera? I don't tolerate these disrespectful nicknames. So it feels like he's kind of giving me a pleasant position. Queen h6 maybe. Just had to put the queen somewhere which doesn't drop a pawn with queen h5 check, nor drop a camera somehow. So with the bishop pair in the ending, obviously better. But I suppose it's solid enough, so reason I didn't go knight c6 instead of bishop d6 is that I wanted to play c6 and thus avoid him undermining my center with I think knight g5 is really poor. He's dropping f2 and yeah, I don't think he has any compensation. If bishop f3, knight h3 is not a threat because I can simply take that. And there may be some other problems coming up for him here. As far as I can, as far as I can see, e4, d, bishop f4. To be honest, I don't see a move for him then. Bishop g4, then d4. He's in a really unpleasant pin. Rook f1 that obviously doesn't work due to bishop f2. So bishop d2, and it's just a piece down. Now he's going to be a rook down. And should I go d? Nah, that's not my style. I gave up a pawn. I don't like having pieces out of play. Okay. That felt beating the person with disrespectful name. Okay. Let me try and play somebody from Chile. I think we have a lot of users from Chile here at Chess24, which is great. Okay, I'm gonna try something really bad, which I lost to once at the Norwegian Junior Team Championship back. Who knows? Maybe it was 2001. It was an unpleasant loss, that's for sure. Obviously, there are good ways for white to play here. Not gonna mention all of them, but yeah, it's generally not recommended to play this way as black. But now I am happy. He could have gone queen a4 immediately if he wanted to trade queens, but now I just get a massive, or some leads in development. And I think I gotta continue in the same vein, playing for tricks. Now that he very sensibly prevented why can't I come up with words today? What are you doing, sir? This is not okay. I'm just getting everything I want now. I could have taken an f2, but that felt a little crude. So what I was going to say is that I'm eyeing b3 square now that he's played a3 and prevented knight to b4. This is even worse. Now he's just losing material. So he's got to go bishop d1 now in order not to lose the house. Yeah, this doesn't work at all. He's not having his best day. Now he's full rook down. And there's no coming back from that. Sorry to say. And the knight is not even close to getting trapped in c1. Knight, bishop d1, I get back via d3, and if bishop f1, I have knight b3. Otherwise, I just take his bishop and run. So I'm afraid that's game over. Sorry for my less than, what should I say, less than subtle play. That's the way it is sometimes. Okay, let's try an FM from Panama. Wow, that's not a picture of my opponent. I think that's an actor. I cannot remember who it is though. So the Oracle, Jan Gustafsson, is telling me who it was. But you guys can figure it out for yourself. I'm sure you know pop culture. So this worked out so well in the previous game, so I'm going to try it again. See if you learned. First of all, if you're going to go Queen a4, do it immediately. But isn't it just running into the same bishop f5 now? This is utterly confusing. But he's playing so fast. Knight f2, queen b5 takes, knight b5. Knight h1? I don't like that. Maybe he's just brilliant. Taking on c3 looks dull, so I'm not going to do that. Knight c6 it is then. Could have played c6, but I do feel that that was not in the spirit of this stupid opening. Let me see. Could you go knight h4? He's just begging me to take on f2. Well, as they say, well, they say something about not being asked twice, but I was asked twice. And the second time I'm asked, I go for it. So queen b5, I probably have to take. Since if I take on h1, then queen b7 is a really nasty double threat. So this is his point. He wants knight h1, d5, and so on. a6, bishop a4, b5, knight b5, ab, bishop b5. Maybe he's coming out ahead there, so I should play a bit more carefully. Now the point is if d5, yeah, probably should take on c3 and then play a6. And thus, well, I get b5, and if he wants to get the pawn back, he has to take on c6 at some point, but then it feels like I should be doing relatively well with my bishop pair. And yeah, he does have a lead in development, but I don't think it's too significant since my moves are coming quite easily with f6 and so on. So I should probably go back to e4, bishop t7. Bishop g7, rook g8 is obviously not an issue. You could go bishop e5. Yeah, I don't like playing f5, but I think I should do it. think is that time was of more of an essence than structural concerns there. And I still have an easy plan of rook g8 followed by either g6 or g5, getting that bishop out, or could also consider just going e6 like a normal person. I should speed up. That's almost always the answer. I'm not sure I like what I did here. I'm not sure I like it one bit. Yeah, he's getting a bunch of counterplay now. But at least I get the bishop to c5, which I like. And now I'm gonna sack the exchange. Hopefully, yeah, f4 I'm really happy to be able to get in. Take an e3, he goes rook to c6. Now rook to c7, this is no good. Now I have rook b2, if rook e6, king f5, and game over because of the mate threat. So we have to take on e3, but then he's just a couple of pawns down in the rook ending. And I have almost 20 seconds. Cutting off his king, just why not? Letting his king back, again, why not? Exchanging rooks, and yeah, that's the game. Well, thank you. That was a very good fight, actually. Or not actually, anybody could say that was a good fight. Okay, let me see. Check, empate from Spain. Empate, does that mean draw? So it's check, draw. It's a bit of a dumb name, isn't it? Or is it just a very smart name? I don't know. Suppose when he goes for this shouldn't be too bad. I don't know though. This doesn't look convincing at all to me from his side. Am I not just developing quite comfortably here? Unless he intends to take on c6. Yeah, the only issue is whether he could have gone bishop e3 immediately there. Rook e1 is sort of too soft, I think. So now I get to set up with queen d7, b6, and it feels like I just have a positional advantage. And very, very nice and easy play in the center. So rook c8, I go in order to possibly put the other rook on d8, but also because the rook might be very well placed in case the c file opens after knight d4, bishop takes d4. But now I think he has serious problems with the square and f3. So knight e4 is the try to kind of rectify that, but I have several options now. One is to go f5, which I don't like on general grounds. Feels a bit too weakening. The question is whether it works tactically. But the other one is c4, which I like a lot better. You cannot take that because of bishop e4 followed by knight f3 winning the queen. And otherwise I'm getting cd3 probably, which just gives me a nice positional advantage. Yeah, this doesn't help at all. I think just knight c2, winning a pawn and retaining all of the advantages of my position. Yeah, I'm gonna try a little trick, which is not a trick at all. I was gonna play knight e2 after rook takes c8, which doesn't work at all. So I simply have to take back with bishop c8. But that still gives me a winning position, of course, with the extra pawn. And to be honest, the threat of knight e2 is still kind of unpleasant. Bishop a6 should be okay. e6, nice and easy. Yeah, no. Feels like it's time to cash in. But it's not time to cash in. Ay, knight a3, I thought rook a1, knight b5, but then there's bishop c6. So I go back. A shameful retreat, if I ever saw one. Yeah, my technique is less than stellar. The reason I went bishop b5 though is just to protect the d8 square. Can take that, I suppose. Looks like a free pawn. Check. Rook c2. Take on f2. Rook a2. Yeah, just completely winning. But yeah, once again, my technique is really less than stellar. So I think I'm getting a bit tired, so I'm gonna play 2 more games after this, and that's it. Okay. Let me see. Pupman from Canada. Wow, not bad. Not bad at all. You should take on d5. That's much better. I'm getting an easy game. Queen c7 maybe? And once again, no need to take on c6 unless you're forced to. He's playing fast, that's one good thing though, but I already have a very pleasant advantage. That's the bad news for him. Trying to cash in, taking a pawn. Yeah. No, I don't think this is a good idea. Should not exchange queens when you're down a pawn. You should try and play for for the initiative. Now I'm getting way too easy a ride. So okay, that was a bit stupid. Protect against rook b1 and b7 hanging, but yeah, you can fight, but the game is practically over at this point. I have a very nice extra pawn and no weaknesses in my position. And he does have some weaknesses, and also my bishop is more active, and my rook is more active. And now I have a second extra pawn, and two passers, which is going to be at least one too many for him. Rook b2, all very standard. Now the rook promotes. Sorry, the pawn promotes. Okay, so last one. Let's make it a good one. Whom do I have? Let me see. Okay, so this is the person that I lost to last time. I'm gonna try and get my revenge against, who's this? Felix Hampel. He's not gonna beat me a second time. So if I win this one, I'm gonna be happy. Then I can leave with a good conscience. What does he want? Okay. He should go d4 at some point, and then I'm gonna take. Gonna play bishop d7, and then I'm gonna try to play for an attack with h5. Unless, of course, he goes knight c6, then I should just go bishop c6 and e4 and play a solid but slightly worse Maroczy type of position. So yeah, I've always wondered about this one. Can I go knight e4 followed by knight e4? I don't know, but anyway, my stated plan was h5, and when he's gone b3, he cannot combat this by going h3, so he can do h4, but now at the very least I get a nice square for the knight on g4. Oh, he goes for that one. Should I play bishop c6? I have a pretty pleasant position no matter what I do, but I want some blood. Okay. Maybe that was a bad idea. I wanted to go g5 here, but I suppose that's a bit too optimistic. Yes. That was really dumb. Playing way too optimistically. Okay. Yeah, that was quite imperfect. Now I have to. Now I'm actually a bit worse. Just a little passive, which was for sure not the plan. I should speed up. Even after a6 and rook c8, I think I'm going to take back with the pawn on c6 in case he wants to take there. But I should speed up. That's the one thing that's for absolute sure. Yeah, I'm not sure I like this move for him. It's kind of weakening. So we both spent way too much time here, which means that after 16 moves, we're playing a bullet game, which is kind of funny. Okay. So, trying to somehow improve my central control. E5 is probably not good, but who cares? It's probably really dumb. But now I'm in hustle mode already. Total hustle mode. Should not allow 95. And I allowed this instead. Oh my god. Oh, I'm happy to exchange those knights. Trying to exchange some more pieces as well. Oh, he goes g4. I didn't expect that. Okay, I'm gonna win on time, but probably gonna lose on position. Okay. I won on time. It was ugly.